Welcome, everyone. Before we jump into today's discussion, just a quick highlight for you. Hui Wang's A History of China. It offers a really profound dive into China's complex past, and it's currently updated right up to the Northern Song dynasty.
Oh, that's a valuable resource.
Definitely. It's available on Amazon, ebook, and paperback. Honestly, it's a must for anyone studying Chinese history.
Good tip.
Okay, so now let's turn to one of Southeast Asia's truly remarkable figures, Mahathir Mohamad.
Quite a figure.
Indeed. On July 10th, Malaysia's longest-serving prime minister turned 100 years old.
It's incredible.
And what's really extraordinary, I think, is that he still works full days, writing for newspapers, advising political leaders, even visiting crisis sites.
Still very much engaged.
Totally. His personal motto kind of tells you everything. Work is the best form of health preservation. He's known for avoiding smoking and drinking, eating moderately, exercising.
Keeping active mentally and physically.
Right, constantly reading and writing. He even joked once, I first retired at 78, which was a bit too early.
Huh. Yeah, well, it's astonishing, isn't it? I mean, we've seen other centenarians in politics, Kissinger, Nakasone.
Sure.
But Mahathir's case, it's exceptional because he actually returned as prime minister in 2018 at 93.
93, still sharp.
Incredibly sharp and active. In fact, at 94, he had this intense travel schedule, visiting something like 24 countries.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's picked up quite a few titles over the years, Most Esteemed Ton, Father of National Modernization, or just Dr. M.
Dr. M. So for this deep dive, our mission really is to unpack the complex and hugely impactful life of this Southeast Asian political giant.
There's a lot there.
Oh, absolutely. We want to look at his profound influence on Malaysia's modernization, traces often, let's say, controversial political journey. And we'll pull insights from articles, research, people who knew him. Basically, think of this as your shortcut to understanding one of the most enduring figures in modern global politics.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Sure.
To really get a sense of Mahathir's impact, let's go back to Malaysia in 1981. The year he first became prime minister.
Right.
At that time, Malaysia was still very much a developing nation. Per capita GDP was only about $1,900.
Just $1,900.
Yeah. The economy, heavily reliant on raw materials. We're talking oil, rubber, timber. And get this, there was only one major highway in the whole country.
Just one. It's hard to imagine now.
It really is. A nation on the cusp, maybe, but very different from the powerhouse it is today.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is the sheer scale of the transformation he oversaw.
Right.
By 2020, when he retired for the second time, Malaysia's GDP per capita had soared to over $10,000.
Over 10,000. That's more than fivefold.
Exactly. In less than 40 years, the country just fundamentally shifted from exporting raw stuff to becoming Southeast Asia's largest exporter of semiconductors and solar products.
Big shift.
Huge. And urbanization shot up past 75%. It really underscores his, profound impact on modernizing the nation.
And it wasn't just economics, was it? He, alongside Singapore's Lee Kuan Yew.
Right, the two of them.
They championed what they called Asian values, advocating for things like diligence, frugality, focusing on the collective interest. They saw these as key for competing globally.
Yeah, and connecting this to the bigger picture, Mahathir was always pushing for Asian cooperation, regional ties, and strong links with China, plus promoting South-South cooperation solidarity among developing nations.
He wasn't shy about criticizing the U.S. either.
No, not at all. Often quite vocally critical of U.S. policies in Asia, especially on the South China Sea, Taiwan. He famously insisted, we must accept China as a strong country, and that nations must find a way to coexist with China.
That was quite a distinctive stance in the region, wasn't it?
Definitely. Often challenged Western perspectives.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. Because for all that transformative impact, Mahathir's political career is just full of these stark contradictions.
Oh,
over 70 years, he left his own party, UMNO, the dominant party, for decades, 5 times.
5 times.
And 3 of those times, his leaving directly caused the government cabinet to collapse.
It just makes you wonder, what does that tell you about his approach to power?
Well, it really raises questions, doesn't it? About his political philosophy, how he used authority. Leaving your own party 5 times, even if it meant the government falling.
It's pretty radical.
It speaks volumes about his pragmatism, maybe. For Mahathir, it seems loyalty to an institution was often secondary to achieving his vision, however fluid that vision might be, maybe a belief in his own indispensability.
And he wasn't afraid to use sharp elbows. jailing 2 former deputies.
Including the current PM, Anwar Ibrahim. That's a 40-year feud right there. Contentious doesn't even begin to cover it.
Right. And that attempt in 2020, trying to bypass Anwar to form a new alliance.
That ultimately blew up in his face, led to his resignation, the collapse of his own coalition. People like Hu Yishan, his former secretary, and Liu Zhendong described him as strong, fickle, and pragmatic. Strong, fickle, pragmatic. That sums it up.
And all this party hopping, it fueled real instability. So much so that Malaysia's parliament actually passed an anti-hopping amendment in 2022, specifically to try and stabilize things.
Wow. So to really get this complexity, we kind of need to rewind to Malaysia's colonial past and those deep ethnic divisions.
Crucial context.
At independence, 1957, you had Malays making up about 56%, Chinese 34%, Indians 9%, a real mosaic. But British-era economics had kind of stratified things, right?
Yeah.
Favoring Chinese in commerce, Indians in professions.
While many Malays remained in rural labor, and this created this deep sense of insecurity within the Malay majority.
Exactly, which brings us to 1970, and Mahathir publishes The Malay Dilemma.
Hugely controversial book.
Right, arguing that economic inequality was the root cause of all the ethnic tension.
And his solution? To push hard for affirmative action policies. To stabilize the majority Malay population, as he saw it.
So things like quotas in education.
Yeah, like 60% of university spots for Malays, plus business support, job preferences for Malays, all quite direct interventions.
Even though he got kicked out of UMNO initially for these views.
He got back in, rejoined in 72, rose incredibly quickly, Minister of Education, then Deputy PM for the economy by the mid-70s.
And that's when he really starts shaping Malaysia's economic path.
Absolutely. As Deputy PM overseeing the economy, he was key in attracting big U.S. and Japanese manufacturing investments that really kickstarted Malaysia's industrialization drive.
And the timing was good, too, with the oil boom in the 70s.
Perfect timing. Those oil revenues, right around the first oil crisis, funded massive development, huge urban growth.
So when he becomes PM himself in 81, he basically doubles down.
He did. Embraced privatization, actively chased more foreign investment through his Look East policy.
Look East, learning from Japan, Korea.
Exactly. Attracting firms from Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and the result, really rapid economic growth from 81 to 2003. GDP growing like 8% a year for a decade in the 90s.
Impressive numbers.
Yeah, plus a booming stock market, much better infrastructure. And he made a big political move, too, bringing in Anwar Ibrahim in 82.
The charismatic youth leader.
Right, which led to stronger religious policies, but also expanded diplomatic ties, particularly with the Middle East and the Balkans, positioned Malaysia as sort of a mediator.
But, internal rifts started to grow. And they really came to a head during the 1997 Asian financial crisis.
Yeah, that was a major flashpoint, a huge clash between Mahathir and his deputy, Anwar.
Because Anwar backed the IMF reform.
Right. Anwar was pushing for stability, supported the IMF plan, which meant slashing a lot of Mahathir's big pet projects. Mahathir was away, came back, furious.
And then, 1998, the shock move.
Ousted Anwar, charged him with corruption and sodomy. Accusations widely seen, internationally too, as politically motivated, just trying to neutralize a rival.
Their relationship will obviously never recovered after that.
No. So by 2003, when Mahathir steps down the first time, those Malay First policies, they were facing growing criticism.
Despite the growth.
Despite the growth. Significant economic inequality remained, even within the Malay community. And Malaysia was showing signs of hitting that middle income trap.
Right, where you get stuck, can't make the leap to high income status.
Exactly. Struggling to move from cheap labor to real innovation. And although Mahathir later talked about a new unified Malaysian identity,
you didn't really get to implement it.
No. And after he retired, conservative factions in UMNO got stronger, arguably made things worse, which, eventually led to the massive Najib corruption scandal.
Then fast forward to 2018, he just shocks everyone, comes back to power at 93.
Incredible comeback. Completely disillusioned with UMNO, his old party, formed a new one, Bersatu.
And joined forces with Anwar, his old rival.
Remarkable reconciliation, seemed like. He even publicly promised to hand power to Anwar within 2 years. Anwar's party gave up 6 cabinet seats for the deal.
But the plan didn't quite work out.
It failed spectacularly. By 2020, Mahathir was stalling on the handover, tried to form a new alliance that would cut Anwar out completely.
But he got outplayed.
By his own deputy this time, Muhyiddin Yassin. Muhyiddin outmaneuvered him, formed a government with UMNO, leaving Mahathir out.
So Mahathir resigned.
His coalition collapsed. He started another new party later, but lost all his seats in the 2022 election. And that effectively was the end of his incredibly long, tumultuous political career.
Wow. What a journey.
Yeah.
Mahathir Mohamad's impact, both transformative and deeply divisive, it's something that will be debated for generations, no doubt.
For sure.
His career really shows how one determined individual can fundamentally reshape a nation, but also grapple with these huge contradictions and power struggles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of figures aiming to reshape political landscapes, maybe on a different stage, let's pivot to Elon Musk and his rather audacious new venture, the American Party.
Ah, yes, the latest from Musk.
Right. On July 5th, announced on X, he's formed this new party. The aim, he says, is to be a voice for American moderates.
Tackling irresponsible federal fiscal policy.
That's the line. And he even said the American Party plans to compete in the 2026 midterms, targeting Senate and House seats. Really trying to disrupt the two-party system.
It's a bold claim. Very Musk.
Very Musk indeed. Never shies away from big ambitions.
No. But it immediately brings up a pretty important question, right? How hard is it to actually start a third party in the U.S. and, crucially, get on the ballot?
It's not just declaring it on social media.
Not quite. Forming a party is easy enough. Set up a bank account, register, basically. But getting candidates listed, that's way tougher.
The signature requirements.
Exactly. New parties usually need to collect thousands, sometimes tens or even hundreds of thousands of voter signatures in each state. It varies hugely. Louisiana might be a few hundred, but California, for a presidential run, over 200,000 signatures.
That's a huge logistical operation.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And while Musk obviously has the money, our sources mention he gave nearly $300 million to the Republicans last year.
So the cash isn't the issue.
Probably not the main one. It's a logistical Everest, not just a financial one. Plus, you've got complex campaign finance laws, getting media access, building a national ground game from scratch. It's tough.
And it's a path others have tried before, this idea of a wealthy individual disrupting the system.
Oh, yeah, it's not totally new. Think back to Ross Perot in '92.
Right. Ran as an independent, got almost 19% of the popular vote. Significant.
Very significant showing. Even Teddy Roosevelt had that bull moose third-party run way back when. But while a few small third parties, maybe 7 or so, have won federal seats over the last century.
The last time a third-party candidate actually won a congressional election was when?
Over 50 years ago, back in the 1970s. The system has proven remarkably resistant.
So why is that? Why is the two-party system so entrenched?
Well, a core reason often cited is something called Duverger's law. It's a political science concept.
Okay.
Basically, it suggests that in systems like the U.S. with winner-take-all elections, only one person wins the seat per district. Voters tend to behave rationally. Meaning, they don't want to waste their vote on a party or candidate they think has little chance of actually winning.
So they gravitate towards one of the two big players.
Exactly. They tend to pick the major party that's closest to their views, even if it's not a perfect fit. Plus, the major parties themselves are pretty good at absorbing popular issues raised by third parties.
Stealing their thunder, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Especially during long campaigns, they co-opt the issues, neutralize the third party's appeal, particularly among those centrist voters Musk seems to be targeting. It's like this systemic gravitational pullback to the two main poles.
A gravitational pull. So what does this all mean for Musk's American Party? Is it, truly a potential game changer, or is it likely to be another high-profile attempt that ultimately struggles against these deep-rooted political realities?
Well, it's fascinating to contrast. While Mahathir Mohamad's legacy shows this long, complex career of both, massive nation building and huge political upheaval within an established system, you see in figures like Elon Musk this continued, maybe timeless desire to reshape political landscapes, even in very different systems like the U.S. Both cases really highlight that persistent tension, don't they, between individual ambition, sometimes massive ambition, and the often formidable structures of power they're up against.
That's a great way to put it. So as you're listening, what stands out to you from Mahathir's century of life in politics, or maybe from these dynamics of third parties constantly trying and often failing to break through? How much can one person, whether it's a Mahathir or a Musk, truly alter a nation's path or a political system? And maybe crucially, at what cost? Definitely something to mull over as you navigate the news this week.